The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink Community TV, its sponsors, or partners.
All right, welcome back to the Unlikely Innovators. My name's Steve Gravel. I'm joined as always with Mike Commito. The Unlikely Innovators is a show where we highlight the unlikely journeys of entrepreneurs and community people, and we tell the world about it. And today we're joined by Mauro Nero,
who is the owner, estimator, and project manager for Mr. Nero Contracting Restoration Inc. Mauro, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate being here.
Yeah, we've been talking about it, sort of off the cuff, that we really need to have Mauro on the show because every time we sort of hang out with you, it's like we're on a podcast episode.
I've been begging you to be on a podcast. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
This is probably me.
So we're really, super pumped to have you on the show.
I mean, I would like to come back as a guest host.
Yeah.
We're not that far.
Well, I don't think Mike's going to make it. Mike's not going to make it very long. So.
Yeah, you're auditioning for my role, I think, pretty soon.
Yeah, exactly.
But let's get things started. We'll keep the conversation rolling. Mr. Nero's been around since '86. Did you always see yourself in the family business? And what was it about that drew you in?
No. So my mother is a very academic person. Went to university. Her immigrant family didn't want her to go. Because they just want you to work. They think that stuff is going back, obviously back into the 70s, is a waste of money, a waste of time. So she went into the academic world. She loves reading books, all that sort of stuff. I was the middle child and probably the best at school of the three because I have an older brother and a younger sister. And I think she kind of expected university out of me. So I didn't think I was going to go into this work. And at school, they kind of pushed you back then. I don't know what they do now, but they make you feel like if you're not sitting behind a desk, you've kind of failed. Like there's no pushing you towards trades. The people that took applied, or I don't know what the other term would be.
College level they used when we were at Lockerbie. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I went to Lockerbie, yeah, Mike. So they were kind of pushed to the trades. So I took all university courses thinking, I'm going to go to university. And I was going to take, first it was going to be civil engineering. I applied to U of T, I got accepted. And then when I realized I didn't really want to go out of town, because I'm also very family oriented, I didn't really want to leave. My father said, I'll send you out of town if it's like you can't take it here, or I'll send you to Italy. Because we also have a dual citizenship and it would have been free. But he's like, if you can take it here, I'm not sending you out of town to party. Like that's kind of what he thought. So I took it, and then I needed geometry, which was the hardest course in grade 12, was the highest pass, or fail rate rather, in Ontario. And I got in this room, and I looked around, and it was me and this one friend, and every other kid was the smartest kid. Like, I was smart, but they were like the genius kids. And I'm like, I don't think I'm supposed to be in this room. So, I did it. I had a passing grade, and then I went, I don't want to do this. So I just didn't focus on it. And I switched to architecture. Okay, there's a school in Sudbury for architecture. And then I saw that you can take 3 years in town, and the fourth year have to go out of town, but the third year might not count. And I went, well, that doesn't make any sense. I'm very conservative. Probably a better term was a very nervous kid. Always worried about making sure and don't do anything the wrong way. It's going to come back on you. Again, immigrant parents. That's kind of how they taught you to be afraid of the world. So then I was going to take drafting. I'd run out of time now, so I went back to Lockerbie, took one semester. The fact that they let me go back to take one class, because that's how much I did well enough in school. The principal liked me. He's like, you can come back, take one class. So I took drafting again, and they dropped it at Cambrian College. And now I didn't know what to do. At any point here in this long story I'm telling you, did I think I'm going to work for my father? No.
Yeah.
I had done it in the summers. He was mostly painting, and I had respect for him and what he did, but I think I just felt like that was the path they were telling me I should go on. So you take all these university courses and you worry about your grades, and then I ended up taking HVAC at the college because now I'm panicking, like I need to take something. So I didn't have the ability to think for myself in the sense like, do you like this? It was more, you need a job, you need to work. So I took it, and to be quite frank, everyone in the class, it was harder to talk to them because they were the kids, like I said, that were probably pushed to trades because they were told they weren't smart enough. And I'm not saying no one was smart, but they were different than me. They had different hobbies, a different way of speaking, maybe a little more rough around the edges. So I did the course. I did obviously very well. And then I think I was finishing, and like, it hit me like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if I'm going to work for somebody and start at the bottom, I might as well just work for my father, because I'm just going to get laid off and treated like the new guy, and maybe have to wait till they get me in. Are they going to train me? So I asked my father, and he says, yeah, you can work. He didn't push me. I asked, and I didn't think I was going to be an owner. I'm just going to work for him.
Yeah.
So I think I started at $12 an hour, and I was just painting. And before I knew it, I was in this office, still fully clothed in painting clothes, because I didn't get that my father's like, you're here now. And I was doing stuff on the computer and then quoting, and then the company evolved out of painting, still painting, but more construction and general contracting. So that's kind of, I didn't plan any of it. It just sort of happened. And I was happy with it. All my other friends were taking university courses for 6 years, and they didn't go into what they took, and they had all this debt, and I was just working. So I was happy with the way that it worked out for me personally.
Yeah, and I think that's it's not an uncommon story. You know, we've done a few episodes now, and I think that's sort of the thrust of the show. You know, you maybe thought that you were pushed towards university, and then you sort of got driven back to this one thing. And we're going to take a break, but when we come back, I want to ask you just some of the things that maybe surprised you or that might surprise our viewers about contracting that
Sure.
maybe not more well known. All right, and we're back with more of the Unlikely Innovators. And Mauro, you touched a bit upon the sort of how you got to where you are now. Now I'd like to focus a little bit on sort of those things that surprised you once you were working in the business full time, and once you sort of went into leadership, and what might surprise people about contracting, construction, painting, those kinds of things.
Yeah, I think you always think, because you know less than if it's an architect, if it's an engineer, you're like, okay, they know everything and they'll never make any mistakes, and then you see that they do. So that was sort of, in a way, it was a good thing, because you're like, okay, they're people too, and they make some mistakes, because it's very intimidating. You walk in, you're a young guy, all these other generals are there, and they're saying things, and it's making you nervous. And then another one's like, she just said that to make you think and maybe make you put the price higher. And like, I don't have that in my head. Like, I think of things as, this is what they want you to do, so you do it and you get paid and we're done. But it's a whole game of people sort of, I don't want to say being untruthful, but people definitely want to protect themselves, and there's a lot of, you better put in for this or it's going to be on you. And the idea that someone called me and wasn't being truthful was hard for me to learn, because I don't, and this is not me bragging, I just don't have that in me to call you and say a bunch of lies to get you to do this so then you don't get it. And my father kept pumping that into my brain, like, you gotta be sneaky. And I'm like, but he to me isn't sneaky.
Yeah.
But he was trying to teach me, like, you have to know how to expect that. But that was difficult and surprising, to answer your question. It's a whole, I'm sure every type of work is like that and has that, but I didn't expect that.
There's a bit of a game, a manipulation sort of part of the business that you don't see when you think about contracting.
Which I'm sure now I realize it just is what it is, and you don't have to pay attention to it. You just got to be you and be honest. And you know, if somebody does lie to you, they lie to you. As long as you're doing everything you're supposed to do, it doesn't really matter. And I'm not saying they did it necessarily to be evil. It's just part of it. And then you realize that people maybe can't tell you everything, and maybe I was too honest with calling people direct and like, well, what do I do with this? But you also learn which people that you work with that you can be very upfront with, and which people that maybe you just hold the cards a little closer to your chest, which I think is normal in everybody's job to an extent. Yeah.
I just wanted to go back. I know we talked a little bit about you know, your parents and getting you on the path to education and getting a job, but like as a child of immigrants, did you ever feel the pressure to succeed, or were they more laid back in the approach? They just wanted to make sure that you had something to do and that you were happy with what you were doing.
So some immigrant parents that I know the kids of have a crazy pressure, like their parents had nothing, but they wanted their kids to be everything.
Yeah.
So I was blessed, like God gave me parents that are like, they didn't give me pressure like that, but they were worried for me, I think, to make sure that I would be okay. So when it came to money or planning, it was like, what they taught me is you do everything right and you could still fail. Now that was good and bad, because it was good in the sense that they just wanted to really make sure, like, I saved my money, I didn't make rash decisions, I worked very hard, but they said you can work very hard, do everything right, and lose everything. And maybe that was the wrong message, but it's because then it took me some time. It led me to some success, but it took me time to break free of the nervousness, maybe the fear of, we bought a house. My wife is all excited and I'm instantly like, okay, like, what are the expenses? Can we do this? And like, she's like, you're ruining it. And she's like, you know, she wasn't raised that way. And I'm like, I got to figure it out if I'm okay with it. And what are the taxes? And it's good and bad. It's better than some of my friends that had like nothing because they're paying 12% for their car. Mm-hmm. But I've also learned not to judge those people now, because some people didn't have parents to help them with that stuff, and they just had to make the mistakes to learn. So the pressure was more, I think, more about keeping me in a successful situation that I could take care of myself, because one day they're not going to be here. But they definitely didn't push me for, oh, you have to be a doctor. The pressure from my mother to be an academic, I felt a little bit, because she was like, I wanted one child to go to university. Now I know that didn't really matter. That was just her outtake on what was a positive outcome. And university was good. And now I know like that's not necessarily true. You can go to college and be very successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You mentioned your father earlier, and I know, Mike, you know him. And he's a beauty by all the things that I've heard. One of the things I wanted to ask you about is, how do you balance sort of that old school immigrant mentality that you alluded to a little bit earlier with sort of, you know, you're a youthful guy, you know, sort of the more innovative business approaches that you might be, you know, seeing in the world, reading about? How do you balance those two things?
You can't tell him anything.
Oh, yeah.
If you're doing something new, he has a weird way of, if I were to call him and say, hey, what do you think? He actually now thinks that I'm in trouble and I don't know what I'm doing. And then he tries to like take over, that's him helping. But if you go do something on your own and you don't say anything and it works fine, he's probably not going to tell you you're great, but you're telling him I'm fine. So to credit my father, some of the stuff, I'll be like, oh yeah, we're building an elevator shaft, which we built for the college. Like, he's like, okay. For that, he's good to have, because he is not a person that backs down. I'm the one that's always nervous and worried. I'm like, I don't know. So the balancing is more, he's too much. Somebody called, we're gonna go there today, and I'm like, we can't. But he's very much never say no, always take work, you know, help people out that I wouldn't maybe help out, and that just comes from his past. So that is probably the old school part of him, where I'm sort of more conservative. So it is actually good, because it challenges me to put myself out of my comfort zone. Sometimes I'm like, we can't take all this work. Why did he get this job? Why are we working for this person? And then later I'm like, oh, we finished this other job quicker and we don't have anywhere for those guys to go. It's a good thing he got that job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, you know, it's literally, you have to stop getting mad. I don't know how else to put it, because I used to get very angry with him, and because I took it as like, you're making this more stressful for me. But once you just let go and you accept how he is and challenge yourself to grow out of every situation, he's very good for that. Like, he's not upset that I'm taking the reins from him, kind of thing. I think he's probably proud. He does. I say probably because I don't think he ever told me. Not never, but you can't always tell. It's just that he sometimes feels useless. he wants to always help and he wants to contribute.
Yeah.
So if he's not doing a lot, that's why I think he goes and gets those other jobs, because he still wants to contribute.
Maybe that
that's the
chair should be a couch.
Yeah. And actually, let's bring in Nick right now. He's here.
Yeah. Could you imagine? It's like Montel. Well, he's backstage right now.
Yeah, he would say some interesting things.
Montel. How old is that?
Yeah, no
That's
one's
a
going to
dated
get that
reference.
reference, but
I got Montel.
okay,
Montel
he got it.
Williams,
I got it.
Yeah.
Actually, I just wanted to ask this as well, just because I'm thinking about this. But like, do you carry on any of the traditions of making wine, things like that? I had this moment the other day where I'm like, my nona are passed, and
You're Italian?
and I thought, like, I don't do any of that. Like, we make sauce and we make pasta, but I don't know how to make wine. And I'm like, I'm running out of time to do these things, or at least learn how to do these things.
Yeah, like wine, cured meats, the sauce. Like every September, we make like 12 bushels of tomatoes, because now there's 3 kids and they all have families. Yeah, there's lots of stuff, luckily, that we do with him.
Yeah.
And hopefully, then I keep doing it. But he's right from Italy, right? So it's harder maybe if it was your grandfather, because then you would have to make the effort to learn that. But you still can't. My father teaches people all the time, and he likes to. So if you wanted to learn stuff, and you're like, Nick, the next time you're making cured meat or wine or whatever, can I come? He does this for several people.
Really?
He loves it.
Okay.
This is a happy story here.
That's
this
what
is
he
bridge
does.
building,
Like
right?
people, he's got a doctor who's from Newfoundland that comes and makes wine with him, because he wouldn't know otherwise. So.
And how do you rank your father's wine?
I don't really love homemade wine from anyone. I would say for a homemade wine, it's pretty good.
Okay.
But I'm not like a big wine guy, so I like the wine that I like. But I do know that everyone loves the wine that makes it. So does that mean anything? I don't know. But I've had some pretty bad homemade wine, so I would say it's pretty good. You probably had it.
I'm sure I've had
at his
it.
house.
Well, yeah. Okay.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
So did you like the red? Did you drink red?
I did.
Well, that's what it was.
Sounds good. So we're making wine
You
now.
can learn how to make
on the
that.
next episode of the Unlikely Innovators.
Well, don't
We're
make
some wine.
promises, but I would like to join.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Mauro about some of the ins and outs of his work. So we're back on the Unlikely Innovators with Mauro Nero.
Still here.
Still here. Steve's still here.
Yeah.
After all that, we wanted to ask you some questions about your work. In the movies, you always see, when people do renovations, like they take apart the walls and they find, hidden cash, jewels, bodies. Should I be tearing apart my walls in search of treasure? Is it like that in real life? Have you ever found anything interesting as part of these jobs you're able to share?
Where the owner called in a panic because we repaired this bedroom and then painted the walls, and he's like, "Did you find money?" And we were like, "No, why?" So what this gentleman did, who was also Italian and probably like a little too skeptic, is he took $10,000 and he tied it to a string. He made a hole behind his dresser and he lowered it into the floor space. And when the painter moved the dresser, he just saw the hole, so he patched it. And he called in a panic. So then we had to break the wall, and the money wasn't there. Your guy stole it, and it turned out his wife moved it. So yeah, we've had some fun things. We've had people leave notes. We may have found heroin once. We called the police.
Oh my God.
That was weird. That was in a bathroom at a bowling alley. It was a full, like everything, like the kit. I don't know. I don't do drugs. I don't know what it looks like, but it had, I guess it was heroin. We had to call the police. So that's the two weirdest things that we found pretty well, yeah.
Especially when you're doing like restorations. I mean, if you're doing new builds all the time, you don't get any of that, but the restorations.
Have you ever seen those videos where people will put a skeleton,
like a fake one?
A fake one while they're doing a renovation, thinking that one day when somebody does their own renovation, they're going to find this body in the walls?
Yeah, I don't think we found human remains yet.
No.
That's good.
I'm just waiting to see all those movies. You were talking about all those renovation movies. Like, I could think of The Money Pit. I can't think of any other renovation.
Well, in fairness, we came up with these questions together, so I mean,
I'm also
assuming you saw these.
But you also said the question, so.
throw me under the bus.
It's more, yeah, we find horrible things like work that was
Yeah.
scarily done.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Stuff that was about to collapse, or like no insulation in the walls at all. Like stuff like that
Yeah.
is more likely.
I was on a deck this past weekend that was very shoddy, and there were like tens of people on there, and I'm like, I'm getting off this.
This is going down.
Yeah, for sure.
What kind of stuff did you find in Steve's house? Tell the viewers.
Steve's wife works for the city, so it was
That is
very
true.
above board.
Okay.
Everything was everyone had PPE on. People were tied off. Working at
We
heights.
had safety meetings every 2
Yeah,
hours.
we had those shoes on, mandated.
Safety shoes that I
Yeah,
wore
the
because I
safety
didn't
shoes.
know.
Yeah.
This is me.
Yeah. So when we first started talking to you, sort of around the college, you guys have been doing some work around there. We were talking about like podcasts and how cool it would be to do like a sports podcast. So what I wanted to do, sort of to bookend this whole discussion, is to ask you. We're gonna this is a sports podcast for the last question. So. It's dominated right now by like hot takes for the seasons and then things like that. For the upcoming hockey, football, and basketball season, I'd like some of your hot takes.
Hot takes. I'm not the biggest football guy, but I do follow it only because I listen to so many sports podcasts. Hot takes. I think Aaron Rodgers does well.
Oh.
Whoa, well.
I think he's going to do well. Our good Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, let's hear this one. I want a scorcher.
Toronto Maple Leafs fan. Everybody is so upset that Mitch Marner is gone.
Not me.
I am very happy. And it's not about hating Marner. It's about the shift in the team's approach. You know, you lose to Florida in Game 7. And in my opinion, you did so because you had better defense, better goaltending. And you see the moves they're making. They have a tougher team. That's what they're trying to do. Mitch leaves because of cap. Really, it's a cap thing. I don't see them doing worse. I see them doing better. And people think that's a hot take. Well, who's going to score? So you don't have to score as many goals if you don't let as many in. So my opinion is, I also think, what do I know? I don't know anything. I think it was hurting the chemistry of the team to have too many guys that maybe thought they were the top guy. So that's a hot take to some. People think they're going to do way worse. So how are they going to get his 100 points? And I said, well, how does Florida get their 100 points from 4 guys? They don't.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you look to people that have won, so that's a hot take. Being unfortunately a Maple Leafs fan that has been tortured.
I think Eastlink should be calling you right after this and get your own sports talk radio show.
That's really why I'm here. I don't really want to talk about. No, I'm just.
Well, we'll leave you with give you the last word. What's next for you and Mr. Nero? Where do you go from here?
We took on some jobs that I didn't plan on taking on, that are new for us. And it makes me nervous. I had a very hard summer so far because it's, things that you're not going to foresee because you don't do them every day, and then you're always questioning, is it me, or are people going to think we failed if we don't meet deadlines? And I have a hard time with failing people. And then I keep just hearing, this is the growth. You took it, it's new, you're going to learn from it. Maybe you don't do the best, but you'll always get it done because we're not going to walk away. Mm-hmm. So those types of jobs that are bigger general contracting jobs, it's either we're learning that we should do more of them and get better at the paperwork and all of the steps, or we're learning, let's just stay the way we are. But I think there's a window of opportunity for those types of jobs because there isn't a lot of people in town to do the work, especially at the busy time like right now. So I would never say no to anything if it's a good client, if they're like, can you do any type of work? If I can find the trustworthy sub-trades that are knowledgeable, I'll do it. I think that is also the next leap. Maybe even if you don't know if it's going to be perfect, you should try it, because that's what's holding me back, which is a fear-based thing. So that's probably the next step, trying a few more that we don't really know how to do.
Well, we look forward to seeing how Mr. Nero grows in the future, and thanks so much, Mauro, for coming on.